Hello, my beautiful collective. Welcome to yet another installment of the Healing Podcast with uGogo Mphemba. So, before we begin, I would like to extend a huge thank you to you guys. I have seen the reception that I have received in the previous episodes. I want you guys to know that I truly appreciate you. I see you in the comments, I see the way you are engaging, and it is extremely important for us, you actually learn and you are empowered and enlightened by this podcast. So to see you guys respond in the comments, nisho ukuthi niyafunda, and you appreciate the gems of wisdom that uMakhulu is dropping is absolutely amazing, and I would like to express my gratitude to you guys as well. Okay, so uMakhulu has taken us through quite the journey, right? We got to learn about who we are, how we come to be. We got to learn about what happens when we transcend this earthly realm. And in today's episode, we're going to look at something that affects the majority of us in the African spirituality space. So as per usual, before we begin, a few disclaimers. I am a South African Xhosa woman born and raised in Zululand, so I will go into isiXhosa, I will go into isiZulu, because those are my two Nguni languages that I am comfortable communicating ngawo. Also, this podcast is based on, but not limited to, African spirituality. So if you do not resonate with the African spirituality space, then this podcast probably might not be for you, but I still recommend that you tune in because there is a lot to learn, okay? And spirituality is not divided or segregated. We are all in universe. Also, my eyes are a little bit irritated, guys, because I'm not wearing my glasses. Ngoba i-ring light yami iya-reflect lana, and then you guys can't see me properly. But again, we're going to get through today's podcast because namhlanje we are going to be looking at witchcraft. Okay, we're going to look at how are people able to send witchcraft your way. We're also going to look at how this witchcraft affects you, how it manifests into your physical reality, and then we'll touch on what you can do as a human being to protect yourselves from witchcraft as a whole. Okay, now in the Nguni space, we refer to witchcraft as ubutagati. So uktaga in the African spirituality space is the act of putting together herbs for the purpose of healing, okay, for the purpose of harmonizing energetic afflictions lingering in your energetic bodies, right? Now, usually a healer is given this wisdom, right, yogutaga, to put together these herbs by their guiding ancestor who has passed on their spiritual gift to them, right? And so they use the healer who is in the earthly realm to effect healing through the wisdom that they acquire in the realm that they are in. Okay, the guiding ancestor, that is, right? So your guiding ancestor would teach you about these herbs, these barks, these roots. They would also teach you which herbs and roots and barks go together and which ones do not, because they differ in frequency, and so some of them, deviation in frequency is too large and you cannot put them together. And this is not just limited to plants. We also look at other elements, rocks, salts that we receive from the earth, right? Minerals, etc. Okay, so your guiding ancestor would then share that wisdom with you, and so as a healer, you will use this guidance, this wisdom from your guiding ancestor to put together healing products to harmonize energetic afflictions lingering in the energetic bodies of the collective. Now, ukutaga becomes ukutagata when you now put together spiritual products that do not heal, with the intention of rather causing harm. Because now you're putting together elements that do not resonate with one another. In terms of frequency, you are mixing products that have a huge frequency deviation between them. So, when you now acquire a reputation as umthakati, then we are saying ukuthi you are no longer healing. Umthakati cannot heal. Okay, so it is either you heal or you kill, you injure, you harm, you hurt. So why do people exercise witchcraft? Okay, why do people become witches and wizards? So we refer to a female or takatayo as a witch, and we refer to a male or takatayo as a wizard. So ke ngoku, why? What leads them to taking that route on their life journey? Lack of healing. What? Energetic afflictions lingering in their physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual bodies. So there's a TikTok video that I filmed where I was explaining to you guys, Uti, what is the inner child, right? And Umakulu had mentioned, Uti, when you are born as a human being, right, during your childhood phase, that is your sun personality. That is the most authentic part of you, or that is your most authentic self. Because now your macabre as this child born into the earthly realm manifests, you now begin the process of interacting with the various macabres that you are exposed to, your relatives, family members, friends, etc. Okay, and again, because you are giving and receiving energy, you guys are exchanging energy, you then acquire certain afflictions that then lower your vibration. Kanjani. So in episode, I think it was episode 3, Umakulu covered Uguti, as a human being, you have these 4 energetic bodies. Okay, you've got your physical body, you've got your emotional body, you've got your mental body, and your spiritual body. And they differ in frequency. The higher the frequency, the more invisible. Okay, so these bodies, they acquire layers throughout your life journey on earth, much like a tree. As you have a particular life experience, you're having it at a particular layer, right? And then as you grow and you move on to the next life experience, there's another layer, etc., etc. So each of these bodies have layers, right? They have layers within them, much like a tree stump. So gengoku, when that layer, through this energetic interaction with other macabres, other human beings, right, in your environment, is now injured or hurt, right? And you do not heal that injury, you do not attend to it, it will then become a wound. And as you continue to develop other layers, that wound is going to bleed into the other layers, because it becomes infected, right? It becomes infested. Siyabhibha isilonda if asinakekelwa and siklinwe kahle and kwenziwe sure ukuthi siyaphola, siyabhibha isilonda, and it bleeds. Now it bleeds into your other layers. And so what happens? You eventually now become an adult. You're at this layer. You're an adult. But you are an adult with tainted layers that have been bled onto by the wound that was not healed during your childhood layer, your childhood life experience or phase. Okay. Guys, I'm not wearing my glasses. Oh my goodness, this is ridiculous. Okay. So, because that wound lowered your vibration, you present as a human being with a dark aura. And through resonance, you are then going to attract the things that darken your aura even more, and you will want to interact with dark human beings. Resonance. And if human beings of a bright macabre come into your space, you're going to be uncomfortable because of the frequency deviation between the two of you. You cannot stand the discomfort. And so, what happens is you will try and bring down the brightness. You will try to dull it down. Brightness, ye macabre yabanye abantu. So when we look at frequency waves, an interesting phenomenon begins to emerge. When a high frequency wave and a low frequency wave interact and they come together, right? We say that there is interference, okay? Because of the deviation in frequency, high and low. There's no resonance, there is interference. Okay? And the lower frequency wave will always distort the high frequency wave. And so we begin to see a new wave pattern emerge that is distorted. So the union of these two frequencies gives rise to a distorted frequency wave that now mimics the low vibrational frequency wave. Niyabona ukuthi impilo ihamba kanjani? So it is very difficult for you to hang around with a low vibrational person ube wena high vibrational and think ukuthi that will not have an effect on you. Science has proven ukuthi the high frequency wave is going to be distorted and it will mimic the low frequency wave. So a low vibrational person will lower your vibration and they will mess up your life because they distort your frequency. So ke umuntu othakathayo is an injured person who is now bleeding onto others. All right? And because they have this lowered frequency wave and it has been distorted, right? Why has it been distorted? It has been distorted because they have introduced another frequency, another frequency of a low vibrational state that has now distorted their frequency, and now they are mimicking this low frequency state. Their own frequency has been distorted. And so they do things that are distorted. Their level of reasoning and logic is distorted. Because umthakathi does not need any valid reason ukukuthakatha. They can thakatha you just because you make them feel uncomfortable, just because your macabre is bright. That's why gomakhulu efuna unilumkisa and teach you about spiritual maintenance as a human being is important. Because it protects you from these human beings of a distorted frequency, of a low vibrational distorted frequency. So know that umuntu mayethakatha, or once they earn a reputation as umthakathi, that is because they have an injury from their childhood phase that was not healed, and now they are bleeding onto the victims zobuthakathi babo. That's why we say ukuthi when a person hurts you, it's never about you. It's never about you. Okay? They just bleed onto you. But the issue is with them. So these false healers that you go to, they are injured human beings. And now they have this tainted layer. And so they exhibit unsavory character traits, greed, deceit, conceit, right? And again, they go on to entertain those of you who want to injure others because nani ninama wounds that have not been attended to. Okay. So here you come and you seek now the services of this false healer because you want to cause injury to someone, or because you want to seek guidance with regards to ubombako. Your life is not making sense. But again, because you want shortcuts and quick answers, you don't want to light your candles and reach out to your divine team and pay attention to dreams and hear what they're saying first. You find yourselves tumbling into iy'ndumba zama-false healers. Okay, fine. Sekwenzekile. Now you will have the consultation, and this false healer is going to give you i-product yabo yobuthakathi. Why ubuthakathi gogo? Because they have put it together with the intention of causing harm, not with the intention of healing. When you go to a false healer, they have their own agenda. Guys, they have their own agenda, and it is not to help you. It is to harvest your blessings. You think they don't know ukuthi their ancestors and guides, their high vibrational guides and ancestors, Baba Flatele. They know very well. And so they know ukuthi they cannot genuinely achieve a high vibrational lifestyle. So bazokwenza ama magic potion, right? To give the illusion ukuthi they are living a high vibrational lifestyle genuinely. Kanti they are harvesting your blessings. But Gogo ngisuke ngazi ukuthi they're harvesting my blessings. You are careless, guys. That is just the truth. You are careless. You don't ask the relevant questions and consultations. Ngiyazi, I have consultations with you guys. Nginbuza ngithi, don't you have any questions? No, Gogo ngiright, anginama questions. At that time, and I'm thinking, if I were you, I'd have a host of questions. I would be made of questions right now. Because you don't take healing seriously. Nifuna ma quick fix. A quick fix is me just cleaning this layer that you've bled onto, but not addressing the wound so the bleeding will continue. You have to understand ukuthi healing is about peeling back through all these layers. And akukho lula, kubuhlungu. Isilonda, once it has become infected, right? Sibhlungu. There is pain, there's a surge of pain. But you have to soldier through that pain so that you can get to the healing. Uzokwazi ukuphola. Okay. So what happens is that you receive the spiritual product and now you have given consent for this low vibrational entity that is contained in the spiritual product of the false healer to be a part of your life. You've given consent. And whatever the false healer has instructed it to do, you have given consent. Because the false healer is not going to tell you, Guti, I've instructed my entity to do this and this and this for me, and then do this and this and this for you. They will just tell you what you want to hear. Now you'll soak it in like a sponge. They'll tell you a half-truth. You are not protective of your energy. You're not protective of your energetic bodies. You guys don't listen to the intuitive guidance of your ancestors. That tiny voice or feeling that you get, that sixth sense, something doesn't quite feel right, but you still go ahead. You ignore. Ulimali. And now you expect ukuthi siqhaqhe wena. But awukwazanga umamela when you are being warned. Ukuthi no go area, no go zone, ungangeni la. Your high vibrational ancestors and guides are not loud because they're not trying to recruit you. They're trying to give you blessings. These false healers are loud because they're trying to harvest your blessings. Learn the difference. Okay. This spiritual product, once you now introduce it into your four energetic bodies, it is going to cause an interference. And again, from this interference, a new frequency is then birthed. Your high vibrational frequency is then distorted, and it mimics that of this low vibrational frequency. So when you go to lezi ndumba zama false healers, you go there as a high vibrational being. You are more high vibrational than them. That's why they need you there. That's why they recruit you. You are more high vibrational than they are. So you go into this ndumba, right? And they give you their spiritual product, a container, their entity. Their products always contain animal fats. They always do. There's a huge deviation between the animal kingdom and the plant kingdom. Huge. And Tina, as healers, we usually don't use ilwane to heal you guys. Because ama plants have everything. Asikho isilwane strong ukudlula umthi. Asikho. I've never seen it. Isilwane uthi nje usiqhumisela ngomthi thizeni sithi zozozo. Tranquilizeke. Asikho isilwane esihlula umuthi. Esihlula the plant kingdom? Never. I haven't. To date, angakasiboni. So, okay, when you are being healed, you need an ancestor who has wisdom. Eyaziyo ukuthi kwenziwani. What plant in the plant kingdom is going to be highly effective in dealing with this entity? What is this entity made up of? Ithakathwe yadijaniswa kwenziwa ntoni? So this evil entity has a low vibrational frequency of its own. There is a huge frequency deviation between you and this evil entity contained in this spiritual product the false healer is giving you. And you take it and use it, and now it distorts your frequency so that it mimics that of this low vibrational entity. That's why masenidlisa abantwana babanye amadlozi nilande all kinds of spiritual products that contain animal fats. These entities that are now going to manipulate their free will and make them believe ukuthi they cannot live without you. Omunye amadlozi akhe ayakwazi ukumambulela uba sisilwane esi that is manipulating you, but eso silwane angithi wena usifake kuwe, they see it in you. They see it in you. And they become aggressive because bias defender, they feel like I need to defend myself. Bagudonore. Abanye they kill you guys. And uma sebebulala futhi babulala ngendlela esabekayo. Baqobe ubona uthi lo muntu ebeqoba isilwane. Ebeqoba isilwane lo. Asiqoba sifake eplastikini ahambe usilahle idustbin. Umuntu lo. Ngobani nilanda izinto eningazazi niyathakatha kanti niyazibulala. So again, now once you've used the spiritual product sale false healer, right, and it has now distorted your frequency to mimic that of this entity, your life begins manje to physically show you the distortion. The distortion begins to physically manifest into your 3D reality. Now life is not making sense. I'll understand what is going on, right? Now you can't go back to that false healer because you know very well you're not going to get clear answers. So uzohamba ke uyogcina uGogo Mphemba. uGogo Mphemba mayethi uthi nawo amadlozi akho aflathele. Your high vibrational guides and ancestors aflathele. How? And then, gogo mkhulu kwenzakalani? Hayi, usinukela kabi, lesilwane lesahamba naso. Udibene nesilwane. So now the frequency deviation between the two of you, inkulu. When our high vibrational guides and ancestors send us blessings, they don't send us blessings instantaneously. They are working on these blessings according to nathi ama actions ethu. Okay? So you'll find ukuthi a blessing that you prayed about 5 years ago is in the pipeline by the time that you go to that false healer. It's on its way to you. So it manifests in your physical body. It's been created. But instead of now being birthed into your 3D reality, this is about birthed lapha kwi-false healer who gave you this product. Ngobani? Because you're not just attached to this entity through a hydrogen bond. Angithi niyagcaba. Nifake lezi zinto. Now when in this entity you won, the false healer is also attached to this entity. Kenje. She's the micro creator of it. Because as human beings, we have the power to create. Tumakulu covered this in episode 2. So we are micro creators of our reality, and we get this power to create from the main creative energy, this life force that is generated. When you went and you collected this entity because you had an intention of causing harm to somebody else, right? Or you had the intention of getting a quick fix to fix your life. Kota, you've got years and years of damaged layers dating back, but ufuna nje quick fixes ezolungisa namhla kanjani. How do you fall into that trap of being tricked? I'll give you this product, it is going to heal everything. Years and years of damage. It even goes against science. Cannot be proven by science. Let me tell you something. The past is an integral part of your present reality and your future reality. If you have a damaged layer in the past, you best believe that your current, your present moment, your present life experience is an exhibition of that past damage. And if in the present moment you still choose to not take care of that injury, of that damage, to not attend to that wound, it will bleed on to the next layer, into the future. So you can already get an idea of what your future looks like by going back to the past and assessing your present as a human being. How do we know this to be true, Gogo? Because of the Fibonacci sequence. Because of the Fibonacci sequence or series. Is it Fibonacci sequence or series? If Fibonacci sequence, I'll go with sequence. Hey, ngihlula high school. Ngizoyibamba sengimdala. If Fibonacci sequence basically states that a past value added with a present value gives rise to a future value. Which means that your past combined with your present gives rise to your future. That is a sequence that nature follows. We see this sequence in the way that bees build their hive. We see the sequence in flowers, in the way that flowers develop their petals. We see it in us as well as humans. Through what? Through these layers. We see it through karma as well, karmic law. So again, this Fibonacci sequence tells us, it assures us, Uguti, the past is an integral part of our present and future. That's why again, we say as healers, you need to understand who you are. You need to understand your past. You need to have a strong relationship with your guides and ancestors, high vibrational guides and ancestors, because they constitute your past. You are the present. And a beautiful, close relationship, a coming together of the two of you, will give rise to a beautiful future for you. One that is bright and high vibrational. This is why ancestors and guides are important too. In order for you to navigate your life journey and get to a bright future, right? You have to have the guidance and wisdom of our ancestors and guides akho. So you have to build that relationship with your guides and ancestors. Ibalulekile. So whilst you are focused on your evil intent, which is why you went and you collected this evil entity to carry out your ill will towards somebody else, the false healer is focused on harvesting your blessings. And they will harvest the living daylights out of those blessings. They will flourish. They will purchase mansions. They will drive the latest American, German engineering. But because they live through Intechonchiwe, they can never build generational wealth from it. They can never do that. And so kumele behlezi bezigqila zobuthakathi. Nabantwana babo, if they want to live like them, right? Live in this facade of riches and never truly acquiring wealth. Nabo kumele bathakathe. It becomes a generational curse. So, Umakhulu wants to put you in the picture. Witchcraft occurs in 3 stages. So when you go to cook up a curse to harm somebody, that occurs in 3 stages. The first stage is the communication stage, right? And it begins with a desire. So the beginning of the first stage is desire and communication. All right. So remember, Uguti, we explained in episode 3, Uguti, desire comes from the heart. And that's why, again, when you pass on, according to the ancient Kemet people, your heart is weighed against the scale by Ma'at. And if that heart is heavy, you are a vibrational mismatch, a frequency mismatch. The deviation is too much for the next realm, so you cannot achieve crossover. So, okay, you have this desire, and it now takes you to this false healer, where near consulta, and again now you communicate your intentions. No, this is my problem. Ngifuna ukuthakatha usibanibani because ukuthi nokuthi ngifuna ukuthakatha indoda yami, ngifuna ukudlisa indoda yami. And now the false healer receives that communication. That now concludes the first stage, which is the bewitching. Stage 1 of uthakatha, bewitching. You don't bewitch somebody else, you bewitch yourself. Why? Because you went to a witch and you became of one mind, of one heart with the witch. Because you knew the person who's going to give you something to harm somebody is this witch. They resonate with you, they understand you. So you become the witch njengai. So you bewitch yourself. You resonate with this injured person who's going to cause harm to somebody else upon your request. Right. After you've communicated your desire, now what needs to happen? Action needs to be taken. You and the witch need to now act. Because your actions need to now create this hot desire yako. And so the false healer has put together whatever spiritual product that is going to carry out your intention. You guys perform whatever ritual you need to perform, slaughter whatever you need to slaughter, go to the bush, whatever it is that you do, masintagata. Right? And now you're taking action to create this thing. You're in the creation process now. And this is the hexing stage of Tagat. Right? You're now hexing. You're creating this injury, lele kubalo. You're creating it in your peg amanj. You're hexing. And you're hexing bani, you're hexing somebody else. Because you're using people's photos, kona lab. You're calling their names, luane kona lab. Sending evil entities to go and torment them. So, that is the hexing part of Ubtagat. Once again, you and the witch you went to have created this thing. It now needs to manifest. It needs to be birthed into the 3D reality yalo muntu that you were hexing. And once again, this thing is birthed and it manifests into that victim's physical reality. Then again, the curse has been birthed. So now we say they are cursed. That is the final stage of ubuthakathi. Now, when you look at that process, what does it mimic? It mimics what uMakhulu covered in episode 2, your chakras. Okay? You've got your upper chakras, which you communicate. That's when you bewitch, when you go and you consult, and you become one, of one mind, of one voice with this witch, because they resonate with you and your intention to harm, to cause harm. So you communicate. Okay. You communicate what? Your heart's desire. You desire to cause harm to somebody else because you are injured self. That's why I say, hurt people, because they bleed onto others. They bleed onto others. They've got a wound that is untreated, that's festering, that is painful. And so they need to see this pain. They need to see it. They resonate with it. And then you've got now your lower chakras, which then create and birth your heart's desire. Now, when as a victim, when you have been cursed and you do nothing about it, that curse is going to continue to your children, the next generations, because it needs to be resolved. It needs to be resolved. And inikeseka kalula because you do not exercise spiritual maintenance. What is spiritual maintenance, Gogo? Spiritual maintenance is making sure ukuthi your frequency is always at a high level. You need to use the 4 elements of the universe, because lo muntu lona who bewitched themselves and who hexed and cursed you took action. They stood up and went and did something. So you need to stand up and do something to harmonize that affliction that they've sent your way. Otherwise, it is going to linger in your energetic bodies. For some of you, it is going to either prevent you from crossing over, or if you truly are a victim, right, and you are high vibrational, you will cross over, but you will be at the lowest frequency level of the next realm. You're not going to have power to do much. So you won't be a powerful spirit guide. Some of you guys attract these curses by not healing your wounds. And so you attract this pain by avoiding the pain that you carry from childhood. And so that needs to be resolved so that your future looks different. Fibonacci sequence, the combination of your past and present, the actions that you take in your present moment, which are different to the past, are then going to steer your future in a different direction, in a brighter direction, in a high vibrational direction. Now, what do curses do? Curses block your energy centers. A person who curses you cannot destroy your light. That's impossible. Light cannot be destroyed. Energy cannot be destroyed. It can only be transformed from one form to another. Okay, so they block your energy centers, your chakras. And this blockage, guys, it causes damage. Ngoba it causes dis-ease of energy flow. Your energy centers naturally give and receive light energy constantly. So when they are not able to do that, when they are blocked, right, then damage begins to occur. And so there's so much pressure buildup. So much pressure buildup. And this pressure buildup is a problem if you leave it, if you don't take care of it, because it will cause the separation phase of decomposition and expansion to come prematurely. You will die. Your physical body will separate from your emotional, mental, and spiritual bodies prematurely. So you have to take blockages seriously. Your physical body tells you. It is your biggest detector, divination tool, everything. It will tell you. Ngani, you're going to develop certain illnesses. To show you, Guti, there's a blockage. You look at the area in which the illness develops, or you look at the areas in which that illness is connected to on your physical body, or in your physical body. Cancer is a big one. Various cancers are a result of distress. Your energy centers are in distress. They are blocked. Okay. And if you don't resolve that curse, it is going to continue. The energy is going. Energy keeps a record of everything. It's going to continue in your children. Because that is your earthly Akashic record. Ukuthi wena, you had cancer and you reached the separation phase of dying. Ikhona le blockage. When you guys go for medical help, that does not resolve the affliction. That cures the symptom. So chemotherapy does not cure cancer. It removes the message that your body is telling you. Uguti, hey, there is a blockage. So okay, if you are struggling with cancer, you would have to now look into the spiritual. What is going on? So now you need somebody, a healer, who truly can communicate with your guides and ancestors. A medium. Azokwazi ukukunikeza clear answers as to what is going on. What is this cancer? You look at where the cancer occurs. That also tells you a lot. Okay. People who struggle with cancers of the digestive system. There was a blockage to their solar plexus chakra. Amadliso akdala were ingested. Big one. Diabetes is a big telltale sign of amadliso that were ingested. Big one. And so it messed up with the harmony of the solar plexus chakra. Remember, the solar plexus chakra is your energy center that gives you the energy to act. Hence, when we eat food, it gives us energy to act. Right? So, you are manipulating the solar plexus. Ukuthi whatever actions they take, ebomini, kube ama actions that benefit you. Bayosebenzela wena. Right? Which is why they high vibrational ancestors bayaflathela ukuthi asizuphangelela lo mntana thina asiphambani. We won't do that. Ungithixo kabani. And then their lives will not make sense. Everything they do, their energetic output, eyakho. They have nothing for themselves. And then basebenzela ize, they will experience poverty. Umuntu odlisiwe. Outside of their free will, uzohlupheka, because the high vibrational ancestors are not bringing through the high vibrational blessings anymore. The ones that are in the pipeline are depleted. They are depleted because the false healer is harvesting them through isilwane sakhe. Sihambisa ama blessings omntana abantu nawakho to them, and then nina iyanfufisa ikunikeza le evil intention yakho ukuthi ujabule njengesiphuphuku, jabuliswa ubala, when the real stuff is being harvested. Jabuliswa ifacade. It's a problem. Diabetes, zonke lezo zinto, they have a generational curse backing them. Those illnesses. Certain reproductive issues. Ibambelelo. Abantwana, they can't achieve pregnancy. Abantwana, they miscarry. Abantwana, kuthiwa their wombs are incompetent. Ngobani, the predecessors, bayenze ibambelelo, bathakatha. Right? Period pains. Ladies, you are not meant to get period pains. You are not meant to get period pains. When you get period pains, that means that your womb is working harder than normal to shed this layer of blood. That needs to go out of your body because fertilization did not take place. So it has no use. It needs to regenerate. But your uterus cannot naturally shed it. So it needs to contract, and that contraction causes you excruciating pain. There's something wrong. There's something wrong with your sacral chakra. Do you know how many women I've given yoni cleanse, yoni cleansing capsules, Mphemba, who had all kinds of diagnoses reproductively? You know, abanye banama growth that are not understandable because of blockages in their sacral chakra. Yoni cleanse is a cleaner from your ovaries to your fallopian tubes to your uterus to your cervix to your vagina to your vulva. Cleans the entire reproductive system of umuntu wesifazane. Aphele lawo ma-growth, ziphele lezo zinto ezijingayo lapho kuma-vulva enezibuhlungu endingazaziyo. Umakhulu developed this yoni cleanse for me. Uzawuthaka intontoni uzayifaka pha ngezantsi izakuhlambe uclean isuse yonke lento, because my underwear was hexed by a family member because she wanted to create a curse kimina uba I must have amathumba. Yazi libuhlungu kanjani ithumba lapha ezantsi, and I must not be able to have kids. Isimanga ke ukuthi I have my son because mina ngazi ukuthi nje I cannot have kids. I was diagnosed as infertile. Ngimncane ngimngaka. Yoni cleanse yasusa yonke leyo nto leyo. Yonke leyo nto leyo. So a lot of the illnesses that we see appear in our 3D reality are a result of energetic blockages that abathakati hex us with. Especially these ones, are they recurring or there's no cure. You need wasugmela. Because you need to find a resolve. And in order for you to find a resolve, you need to understand the genesis. Your physical body is a precipitation of your other bodies. Okay? Because the energy had to condense. So, okay, when you're looking for true... when you're looking for true answers, you have to go to the spiritual. You have to go to the genesis. So how do we exercise spiritual maintenance, Gogo? You keep yourselves clean. You keep your environments clean. You surround yourselves with high vibrational people. You are discerning. You do not allow anybody to have access to you. Nina nenza izinto ezinifake engozini kalula, and then you expect me ukuthi ngigqigqe up and down for you when you could not protect yourselves, when you allowed yourselves to be exposed to harmful energies, low vibrational energies galula. You enter imijolo relationships with people you know very well were sexually active with other people, and they never cleansed, they never got a cord cutting. Anina ndaba ke nje ne cord cutting. Anina ndaba. I'm talking to those of you who've heard about a cord cutting. I talk about it a lot. But cord cutting yan khuluma ngani lo. Yela, you cut energetic cords. Don't have sexual intercourse with people without doing a cord cutting. Don't do it. I showed you guys ukuthi yenziwa kanjani cord cutting. I've showed you. And Mphemba has these cords. Those cords aphekwe ngemithi. Over 40 plants that go into over 40 that go into making those cords. Very, very effective in communicating ukuthi you're cutting the energetic cords that tie you to other individuals. So that izinto abazenzayo and the entities they go fetch ezindumbeni thizeni do not have direct, clear access to you. You need to unplug the cord from the socket. Niba nama one night stand nabantu eningabazi. Woo! Hlanga impilo yakho. A stranger. And do nothing after that to depolarize your energetic bodies. Because phela sex is an exchange of energy. You need to be careful. Being high vibrational, akukho lula, but it is worth it. Nothing good comes easy. Okay? Asenza ama magic trick la. We are healing. All right. When you look at a shop, Mphemba, right? Lapho ku lovebngprettyhealing.co.za. Just from her healing products, you can see ukuthi spiritual maintenance somuntu, a human being, siyini. You have your power cleanse bundle, which is a soap and a steaming salt bundle. Okay? So we are uyahlamba, uzihlamba wena self ube clean. Spiritual maintenance. You've got home protection salts. Home protection salts. You cleanse and protect your space from low vibrational stagnant energies. Some of you niyahosta kugcwala abantu emizini yenu bahamba abantu uhlala urelax. Yela, you cleanse that space. You cleanse that space. Kade kunamamakhoba amangakanani, you cleanse that space. You have isbusha, which allows you to fight. It allows you to fight lama evil entities that are sent to you, these curses that are sent to you. Umakhulu is still going to share different methods of fighting isbusha for our TikTok subscribers. Right? So there comes a time in a person's life where you have to fight. That's why when a person curses you, awuhlali nje, you fight, you act, you fight back. Because kumele kufe bani? Who must reach the separation stage of decomposing and expansion prematurely? Who are you to decide that for me? Mina ngisafuna ukuphila. So ke ikhesi yakho ayizukwenza lento ucinga ba izayenza apha. Yeyakho. Yamkele igone yeyakho nansi. Tata. Chin. You've got kiddies protection salts. You need to protect your kids. Niyaslamba nina, niskline nina, you don't protect your kids. It's not kiddies cleansing salts, it's kiddies protection salts. You need to protect your kids. Anything that contains your DNA is going to be affected. So when you also cleanse it, the energy is going to translate to them as well. Okay. Kiddies protection, abantwana bayesikoleni, they are exposed to so much. Bafunda neingane zabathakathi. So you need to protect your kids. Kiddies protection salts. Yoni cleansing. Yoni cleansing capsules. Ladies, you clean your yoni. Especially if you're sexually active. You clean your yoni. Okay? Especially after childbirth. It helps to shrink your uterus, return it to its normal size. Even if you get period pains, it can remove certain afflictions there. Amanye dingi cord cutting, it depends. But you cleanse your yoni. And it needs to be clean. It needs to not have a bad odor, fishy smell. Woo! Ayikho into engihlula nje ngeyoni area enukayo. Kuthi udlula umuntu esifazane grocery shop kuthi mina ngiyahlupha because sengifuna ukukubiza eceleni ngithi mama. You need to cleanse. Right? So nje, just seeing the healing products that umakhulu has, she doesn't have a lot, right? Because as gangi siyaphilisa. Just seeing her healing products, that tells you ukuthi spiritual maintenance somuntu sihamba kanjani. And that's all it is. Doing your spiritual maintenance does not mean ukuthi you won't be an easy target yabathakathi. You will be, bazokutarget impela. But you will not be an easy victim. Zizobhampa lento zabo. Because maintaining your spiritual maintenance communicates a very strong message to your high vibrational guides and ancestors. Uba ndikhuseleni. Ndikhuseleni. Use the 4 elements of this universe. Uba nindikhusele. Protect me. Bring me to healing. Okay. Afflictions are passed on generationally because you're not an island as a human being, right? You are an integral part of lineage yakho, your guides and ancestors. So their wounds are your wounds, and your wounds are your children's wounds, and their wounds are the grandchildren's wounds. Okay. So be mindful of that when you choose to avoid healing. Uguti, that injury is going to bleed on to the next generations. So I'm going to leave today's episode there. The take home is we all need to heal, and we need to take healing seriously. We need to understand uguti healing is deep because you're peeling back layers and layers and layers, right? That have been damaged, that have been injured, that have been bled onto by this wound that was inflicted and never healed, never harmonized, never attended to. All right? We also need to understand uguti cursing somebody else is bewitching self first. You cannot curse somebody else without bewitching yourself first. So it is a sacrifice. Uktagata is self-sacrifice. Okay. You also need to understand the importance of spiritual maintenance as a human being. You cleanse yourselves, you cleanse your space, you protect your kids, you protect your space. You defend yourselves, you fight back. You fight a bully, guys. You don't let a bully you fight back and you teach a bully a lesson. Uba not up, not apa. Right? And ladies, you maintain your reproductive health in tip-top shape. Okay? You exercise responsibility when you are a sexually active human being, because you are a participant in this major exchange of energy, right? That is polarizing your energetic body, so you need to be active in depolarizing as well. A high vibrational human being is not plagued by disease. Disease, near dis-ease. Lack of ease of this life-giving force through your energy centers. So if your life is riddled with disease, then you need to now look at the origins. You need to trace back the origins. Go back to the genesis of it all. Which means now you have to go and seek what is going on with you spiritually. All right. I hope this episode shed much needed light for you guys. I will be sharing a lot more in detail on my TikTok, but only for subscribers, because the information that umakhulu will be sharing there is a lot more detailed, okay? And a lot more specific, right? She's going to teach you various ways in which you can achieve this spiritual maintenance as a human being, okay? And drop other pearls of wisdom. She dealt with a lot of pressure, a lot of pain, a lot of witchcraft sent her way. So today's episode is a very touchy one. But allow pain Mphemba, her past pain, and combine the wisdom that she brings to you from it in your present moment to now change the trajectory of your future. Okay. Fibonacci sequence. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning into this installment of the Healing Podcast with uGogo Mphemba. Keep up with me on my other social media platforms. I'm not that active on Instagram, but I'm working on something. I'm very active on TikTok at lovebngpretty. Okay. Otherwise, I wish you profound and absolute healing on your life journey and beyond. CAMAGU.